you can see Bitcoin is right on support. This is part 2, by the way. If you're listening, my video got stopped out, so I had to restart the recording. So I'm gonna add this to the part 2. But anyways, you could see Bitcoin looking pretty good here, right? You kind of have a diag 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So you also have this 3-wave shape here, right? So that's interesting. Maybe we could get 3 up, and then maybe we get 3 back down. It becomes a larger, more proportional 3-wave shape. Gets us down to this area over here, and then that's when we can start to accelerate, because you want to see a little roundabout. You want to see a little hump, these little humps come in, and those happen pretty often. Like, for example, back over here, you could see right here is a good example of all of this, right? So you have your dump, right? And you have this little hump right here. So you come up, right, in this wave, and you kind of flag out a little bit, and then you break down, and then you kind of just, you kind of flag out to the downside. You hold support in here, you build a base down here, and then that's what allows you to go up. So you have a little roundabout sort of move here, and that's what we want to see with Bitcoin. So here's Bitcoin, smaller time frames. Okay, something a little bit similar, right? If this kind of wants to roundabout, flatten out a little bit, and then start to get going, that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is that this is flagging out to the downside, and it's some really weird diag, and I don't like it at all. But here you go. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 5. It looks dreadful, but it is theoretically there, because yeah, you could see 1, 2, or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. So we have that 5-wave move. But if 5 is a diag for a diagonal 1, or we would then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't like it though, because it just doesn't look right to me. But that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We probably need to come down. So look at this. If we take a fib level from where we are, we're looking at 80K, guys. Okay, 80,000. So I don't think we're gonna fall too much more today. I think the selling is pretty much done. I could be wrong, but I think it's kind of gonna slow down a little bit. What makes more sense to me is we kind of maybe go down a little bit more. We kind of chill out over the weekend, and then maybe the beginning of next week, maybe we come down and we finish, and we get down to that 618 area, and that creates this kind of 3-wave shape that we get to flag out for, and then we kind of go up from there. That's what I would love to see. We'll see if that plays. Same thing with Theta. Let's see on the 5-minute chart. Yeah, see, I don't like it a lot now, because look, you can see how it's bottlenecking in here. You see how it drops in, and then it's kind of like doing this crap? That tells me you might have another drop down. So all right, so let's see. We are incredibly oversold though on the 30-minute. I mean, look at that. We're just, and you got divergence, but again, divergences are just one little piece of the puzzle. I mean, they can easily take out the divergence if they wanted to, right? The way it's harder for them to take it out is the bigger the time frame. So the bigger the time frame, the harder it is for them to take out that divergence. But yeah, it just seems like it's not finished to me. I don't think it's quite finished yet. I think the selling will slow down a little bit, but I don't think this move is done. Let's just put it that way. So let's see, where are we on the fib level? Let's see. So we're about, okay, so we just hit the 50, and that's normal, right? And we also talked about that, right? You take this whole wave, you cut it in half. That's usually where, at the minimum, where you go to. But more realistically, because how strong this move is, because you got to look at how it comes down. This came down extremely powerful, which means it's got a lot of momentum behind it, right? Which means it's not going to go in a straight line forever, but maybe we get a little bit of a cool off. But ultimately, we finish down here. We finish the move down here. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, take everything off the screen. Where we are in the grand scheme of things, I think is a good area. Let's see here. Look at where we are. We're right on all of this key area of support here for theta. Right? So you have the bottom of this, the top of this, the bottom of this, right? So there's a lot of structure, there's a lot of confluence in this area we're at right now. So it could be that maybe we had to come and fill in some gaps. Let's see, is there a gap here? So you can kind of see, you know, when we were in this area, we broke out of that area, but we never back tested, and we came up, and then we had a three-way move down, and we finally filled in this area down here. So that's a good thing, because ultimately, this thing, in my opinion, is very bullish, at least for a retrace, right? So the idea now is that we get some kind of base down in here, right? So we want to fill in that box. We want to fill it in with structure. So let's fill this in. You know, maybe we have to revisit the low. Maybe we have to might take out the low ever so slightly. But I think ultimately this is coming back to the retrace levels because of this three-way move, right? We have a three-way move up. This is a flat right here, right? This is a three-way move up. This is a three-way move down. And by the way, we topped here in March, so there's a good possibility that we will bottom in March, right? So this is a 1 year. This took 1 year. This is a 1 year three-way pullback, and it's beautiful. But we just have to, we have to hold. We have to hold support. We have to build a base, and we have to have signs of strength, and then we can see it. We can see it do a lot better. But you can see we're still dumping here. So let's see if this low gets taken. It looks like it's going to be taken out. It looks very bearish right now. I mean, because the way it bottlenecks in here, there's no, yeah, the way this looks like it's going to drop. All right, let's take a look at ADA here. ADA is a lot tougher because it's just, I just don't know what's going on with this range here. You know, If it breaks down, it's probably a fake out. If it breaks up, it's probably a fake out. The market makers, they play both sides of the liquidity spectrum. So it's not really a good indicator either way, but yeah, we're just gonna need some time for this to mature here. I'm just hoping that, maybe we do hit the low a little bit and then we come back and then we start playing out, grab that liquidity, but we'll come back to that. XRP looks like it's kind of holding some support a little bit. Obviously we lost the EMA ribbons. Oh yeah, the sequential. So we're on a look at that, we're on a 3-hour 9. What about the 4-hour? 4-hour would be a little bit better. 4-hour, we're on a 6. Not really liking that. Let's see, the 6-hour. Oh, look at that. We're on that's good. So a 6-hour. So we have a perfected 6-hour 9 buy. And we could see the 6-hour is pretty relevant. You gotta call the top here, right? You can't use it by itself. You got to use it in conjunction with Elliott wave. So for example, if you were looking at this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you don't want the 9 in the middle of the 3. You want the 9 at the end of the 5th. So it kind of gives you a little bit of guidance. And what's kind of cool here is you have a 3-way pullback and you got the 9. So the very least we would hope is to get a bounce and then get a 5th wave, if that makes sense. So we get 1, 2, 3. So the 9 happens at the bottom of the 3. We get a 4 bounce, and then we get a 5. Or if it's just a 3-way pullback, then it would be nice to see it hold here, because we do have, we're right on this support line here, and it goes back pretty far here, because it's all about filling in the volume profile at these new price levels. XRP, this is the longest time XRP has ever been above $1, let alone $2. So it's trying to get used to its new living situation, right? XRP used to live down here for the longest time, right? Now it's living a lot better, but it's getting used to this new price. And then not only that, but when we look at it from this perspective, which totally zoomed out, you can see we're continuing to build a base on top of the all-time high. Now it doesn't look the greatest. You could say it looks like a head and shoulders. You could say it looks like it's topping, and maybe that's true. But until that range breaks, we have to respect it. So we got a little bit of wiggle room, but not a lot, right? So from a count perspective, it is challenging, right? I still look at this as a flat. But what is that? What is that? There's a couple ways you could look at that. So that's a 1, and then we have 3 down, you have 3 up, and then you have 3 back down. So that could be a 2. But then what is this? It's just 3 up, and then you're coming down in 3. So let me actually use this. Okay, so we have wave 1, A, B, C, right? And then you have A, B, C, and then A, B, C. So this whole thing is A, B, and C. That's a 3-wave move down. And now we have 3 waves up in a different degree, and then this is 3 waves, or maybe it could be 5, we don't know yet. 3 down. So we have 3 up, 3 down. Maybe we can get 1, or once this finishes, right? Maybe it has to come down a little bit more, but we can get 3, 4, and 5. So if we saw something like that, then so we have a flat and then a 1, 2, right? We have 3 waves up. Maybe either this flags out and we can get going, or this comes down and we have 3 up and then we come down in 3 and then we go up in 5. So I'm just trying to make sense of what this range is, and this pump and dump really kind of messed up the chart, so it's kind of hard to identify what it's doing. But I'm still fourth waves are always complicated. They're extremely complex. But one thing is for sure, we are oscillating. Let's see if I can connect it here. We are oscillating to the downside. So we're not dumping aggressively, right? So we are coming down, but we're doing so in an oscillation, right? And this is a good thing, because eventually, though, when you have a channel that's oscillating to the downside, more often than not, it breaks out, right? You could see right here. We came up and we were oscillating to the downside. You were channeling down, which ultimately leads to a breakout. Same thing over here. Look at this. You're channeling up, which leads to a breakdown, right? So usually wherever the channel is, if it's going up or down, it usually breaks out in the opposite direction. You can see here's a channel here, right? We're kind of oscillating to the downside. So if I just take like a bars pattern, just like this, you can kind of get a little bit of a sense of, it's not a fractal or anything, but just to see kind of the structure here. Or actually, it kind of does look like maybe a potential fractal. You kind of see a little bit of a play there. You come down, you come down, you come up in 3, you come up in 3. You take the low here. You take the low, or yeah, this one actually took the low, but this one's a higher low. Then it came back up, spiked the high, came up, spiked the high. Then it came down in 3, came down in 3, and then it came up in 3, and then it came up in 3, had a little bit of a pullback, and then exploded. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, it's interesting for sure. But the real fractal, the one that BCB shared, that I like that one a little better. It definitely looks pretty good here. So, but we have an issue. The fractal, so the price actually broke below this area here, right? So we completely took this low out, and over here we held the low, right? So the fractal's not as nice, and this is the way BCB interprets it. But what if it's interpreted a different way? Let me show you. For example, so this is the flat, or no. This is the flat right here, right? So then we have 3 waves up. We get 3 waves up, and then actually, yeah, 3 waves up, and then you hit the low, and then you come up, you pull back, and then you come up, and you have a 3-wave move. So basically we're right there. So that's the original way to look at it. The other way is you still have a flat, but you come up, this is 3, right? And this is 3 here. And then you pull back, and then you spike the high. And then you slam the low, and now you're kind of like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, it doesn't look the greatest, but it could be a 3-wave move up, something like that, right? And then you pull back, and then you go sideways. then you go sideways, then you break out, then you break out. So it could be a little bit extended. Simply because this move here and this move here are a lot alike, you know, in a way. So yeah. So far, before I got in the video, I got in at 216.62. So that puts me roughly 216.62, roughly around there. Obviously they're different exchanges, but yeah, so right around there is where I bought, and I'm just gonna hold and see if we can hold this area. Right, if we can hold this area, that'd be great. If I'll set my stop loss just right under the entry, and if we break it, then, you know, whatever. But you got to take a little bit of a risk. But I just don't know if that's quite finished yet, right? Because the way it looks to me, it just seems to me that, you know, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're kind of like 1, 2, all of this is 3. Maybe you get a 4 here, and then one more down for a 5. So I'm not completely confident that this low is going to hold at 216. You know, you got other areas too down here, like at 206, 209, 199, and 213 or 214. Right? So these are all potentials. But since we came down so fast, I don't think it. I think you're going to have a little bit of a pullback before hitting the low there. So it could be as big as this, where you had this three-way move up like that, something like that before dropping down. So I think that's about it. Let's take a look at some other charts here. Like we were looking at SHIB yesterday, and what did we talk about? Well, we said what? That we had 3 waves up. Anytime you have 3 waves up, you got to be very cautious. This is not this. You know, we're dumping today, and I look on X, and why is crypto crashing? Why is it crashing? I don't understand. Not in question to me, but just in general. You know, who the hell is selling Bitcoin? Who is selling crypto? Why is it dumping? Because you had a 3-way move up, right? Anytime you get 3 up, you're going to have a pullback. This looks like it could be 3 waves down, like this. 3 waves down, right? Because we've seen this before. Where did we see it at? We saw it right over here. Right? You have 3 waves up. Look at that. It's basically identical. And then you have 3 waves down. Let me take a bars pattern. And let's look at it like this. We'll put this over here. It looks exactly the same, the way it's setting up. Look at that. Let me try to fit it a little bit cleaner in here. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. See? So ideally, you know, we could have a spike, and then, because look, today's Friday, which makes it really interesting, because now we're going to have Saturday, Sunday coming up, and Saturday and Sunday, you already know it's going to be, it could be a bloodbath, you know what I mean? But if we get the selling over with today, maybe it won't be so bad. But there's the fractal right there. So this is all about, you know, trying to establish a bottom. And you could see it not just there, but look over here. Right? This was actually a better. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you had a 3-way pullback. That's what you want to see. That's really, really nice. You could see it over here, kind of, right? You had a 3-way move up, 3-way move down, right? This is all a trick to get everyone to panic, because when you set a low, when you make a low, it could be a lot worse than people think, right? And here's another one here. Is this the same one? You have 3 waves up and you get 3 waves down. I think that's the same. I think that's the one we were just looking at, right? No. Yeah. So yeah, like 3 waves up, you got 3 waves down. And then you go up in 5 and then you flag out. Just like we always, so 3 up, 3 down. You go up in 5, and then you ABC, and then you break out, and that creates your base. So this is a really good example of what I'm trying to emphasize on what we should look for. So I think we're close. I think we're really close to, finally getting a low here. Because what it really is it's torture, right? Think about the psychological perspective. Like you don't really notice it because you're having the same feelings as everyone else. But if you look at it from, like, imagine you're an alien in a flying saucer and you're observing how humans interact. Just like how scientists will look at an anthill, we're observing how the ants, do their thing. Observe basically do the same thing and look down at the crypto community and observe the sentiment, right? Because again, down. Everybody's already beat up completely, right? Everybody's beat up completely, right? We make a low, we came up, and then to add insult to injury, we had down, drizzle, and it even took the low, and then we had a little bit of relief, but now we're coming back down again. So this is like a psychological war on your mind. And then we also have the tariffs coming in. But here's the cool thing about the tariffs. The tariffs are already priced in, right? Because everybody knows that they're going to start April 2nd. Everybody knows that. So they're already priced in. Or they're becoming priced in. It's not like... like if once the tariffs take place, that could be the low. Because everyone's going to believe... See, the tariffs are not the reason why the markets are coming down. Everyone is so... Even very smart people believe it, and it's sad. That's not why the markets are coming down. The markets coming down is purely technical. The reason why they are assigning the tariffs for the narrative as to why the market is coming down is to blame Trump. But remember, he had tariffs. He put a lot of tariffs in place during his previous administration, and we didn't have nothing like this. So how come all of a sudden we have something like this? Because back then they weren't ready. Back then they had other motivations. But now their motivation is to destroy Trump, make him look bad, right? Get him out of, impeach him or whatever. Basically blame him for the reason why your portfolio is down. Blame him as to why we're going into a recession. But in reality, this has been going on for decades. I mean, this has been in the works for decades of the transition from the old fiat system to a new system. And the main reason, here's one thing you probably didn't know. The real reason Doge exists is because when we go to a gold standard, you cannot have waste, fraud, and abuse. Really, fraud and treason, right? So you have to cut the fat. Doge has to go in there and remove all of the fraud, all of the waste government spending. Because the reason why we have to do that is because when we go to a gold standard and we reset the new currency to gold, then that means we cannot have all of this fraud and abuse because we're not going to be spending money. We're going to be spending gold. We can't spend gold, right? Because our currency is going to be backed by gold, right? It's going to be backed by gold. So you can't have all of this waste, fraud, and abuse because then you're going to be spending, your good stuff for all of this crap that's going on. So that's why Elon is getting rid of all of this fraud in the government so that once we transition to gold, we're not spending our gold, So, that's just the way it is, right? So anyways, we got a double bottom here so far, right? And we do have So far a higher low. Let's see if we can hold in here and create a base and get back into the retrace levels. So it's all about creating this structure down here and getting back up here. I think that's what's happening. Oh, and what I was gonna say is, okay, where's April 2nd? Look, check this out. Look at this. Maybe let's use XRP for this example. So we go to XRP, okay, and then you go to the tariffs are supposed to take place April 2nd. I'll just put April 3rd since I'm on the 2-day chart. Okay, so the price, okay, so this is when the tariffs are going to go into effect. Okay, so you could see what's happening. The price is going down into the event. Remember, this is an event, right? Have you ever heard the expression buy the rumor, sell the news? Or sell the rumor, buy the news, right? Same thing. So remember back in 2021 when we had Coinbase IPO'd, that was good news. Oh my God, Coinbase IPO, that's the best news in the world. But that actually was the top of the market. And then you had Elon Musk Saturday Night Live. That was Bitcoin and its glory, right? There couldn't be anything better. I mean, there was such good news. And guess what? That was the top of the market. But okay, now flip it the other way around. Now we're at really scary times. We're at the bottom of the market, right? We're at the bottom here. Let's use Theta as an example, right? You could see, we've been going down into, okay, so here's the tariffs. The tariffs are going to happen around April 2nd, right? And that's just like Coinbase IPOing. That's just like Saturday Night Live Elon Musk. That's just like all that stuff, right? It's you have good news at tops and you have bad news at bottoms. What's the bad news? The narrative. What's the narrative? Tariffs. When did they take place? April 2nd. Okay, so everybody knows that. So it's being priced in. So once April 2nd hits, that could literally be the sell the rumor event. Or I should say buy the news, right? Sell the rumor, which the rumor is what? Tariffs are coming, okay? And then once the news comes out that it actually is in effect, that's when you bottom and that's when you go up. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what usually happens. So because everybody has to be wrong, most people are wrong, right? The majority, you guys know this, the majority is always wrong. If somebody does a Twitter poll, do you think Bitcoin's going to go to 200,000 next? Or do you think it's going to go to 10,000 next? If everybody puts 10,000, then what do you think it's going to do? It's going to go to 200,000. If everybody puts 200,000, it's probably going to go to 10,000 because the majority is always wrong. Now, if you ask the same amount of people, I'm going to put a poll up. Do you think crypto is going to continue further down as tariffs take place? Most people will say yes, because they are taught by the fake news to believe that. And all the influencers out there who are teaching them to believe that tariffs are the reason why things are crashing. No, that's the narrative. That's not, the tariffs don't physically cause that, right? This is just people trading on people's emotions, right? Trump says, hey, I'm going to put a tariff on this. The fake news comes out and says, hey, look what he did. Now look at the market. And then people look at that and they think that's what caused it. But it's really, there's really a lot more to it than that. Right? So what I'm saying here is you have a 3-wave. This took 1 year. We have a 1-year 3-wave pullback. And we have 5 waves. And we have the tariffs coming down here. They're going to start, right? They're going to take effect April 2nd. So everyone believes that what's going to happen, we're going to continue down. But I think we're going to continue up because I think this is a sell the rumor or buy the news event, right? Buy the news. It's usually sell the news, but this is going to be a buy the news event, right? Remember what happened back over here. FTX collapsed, right? Remember Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, and FTX. That all happened at the bottom of the bear market, right? So terrible, terrible, terrible news. And where did the terrible news happen? At the bottom, at the low. And what's happening now? Terrible news. What's the terrible news? Tariffs. That's the narrative. So what do you think's going to happen? Right? So obviously it has to deal with the stock market too. If the stock market is going to continue dumping, right, then we could see something like that as well. Let's take a look here. SPX. Yeah, you could see the stock market it's still dumping, right? And this can continue for a little while, right? Because of the so-called tariffs, right? And here's the thing: if I'm Trump, I would just call up France and be like, "Yo, can you drop the tariffs, please?" Oh, you won't do it? Okay, then we're gonna ban you. Then we're not gonna take any of your products ever. We're gonna just completely shut you out. We're not gonna buy anything. We're not gonna do business with you, and we're not gonna protect you. Matter of fact, give us all of our equipment. We're out of here. Buy France, right? That's what I would do. I mean, straight up, like, hey, our country will not survive. Your country will not survive without the United States. Because you have China, you have Russia, right? You have some pretty powerful adversaries that would love to take the United States' place. And do you think if they took our place, do you think they're going to play nice? Hell no. They're gonna put a lot of tariffs on you, right? So, people are afraid of tariffs and price increases, but that's the whole point of it, right? It's a deterrent. So Ferrari's like, okay, well, you're going to charge us more money on cars. We're just going to raise our prices by 10% so that Ferrari doesn't have to eat the cost. So who eats the cost? Well, they could say the consumer eats the cost. But guess what? The consumer has a choice. Do I want to buy the Ferrari or do I rather buy a Corvette? Honestly, like, hey, dude, a V8, a Corvette, I think they have a V6 or V8 now. It's pretty powerful. I mean, the new Corvettes are fast. I mean, they are fast. I mean, they can get up to they have a Corvette now that's 1,000 horsepower. Okay? And it's less than 200,000. It's like 150,000. I would rather honestly own a Corvette than a Ferrari. Obviously, Ferrari, you got the rich look. You got Ferrari is optics, right? Look at me. I'm in a Ferrari, right? But as far as and it's a really, really, I've driven a Ferrari. I've driven multiple Ferraris in Vegas, a place called Speed Vegas. I've probably driven at least 7 or 8 different supercars in Vegas. I drove a McLaren, the Lamborghini, I've driven the, my favorite car out of all of them was the Pista. The Ferrari Pista. That thing drove beautifully. It handled really well. But anyway, I digress. Look, essentially, the tariffs are a deterrent. So if I'm buying something, right, that came from France, but now or Italy or whatever, but now it's 10% more money, well, guess what? I could just buy a competitive product that's in the United States, like cheese, wine, whatever they sell, right? Bugattis, right? So anyways, we look, the tariffs, Trump has a strategy. We're trying to build up our cash reserves, right? So that way, when we transition, we have cash to go with, right? As we transition, we have, it's basically like a power play, really, of what he's trying to do. So, but during this time, there could be turbulence because people are emotional creatures, and they feel whatever the fake news tells them to feel. So if Fox News came out and says, the stock market came down 5% today as Trump tariffs take place, as if that was the reason why it came down. And you know what? Maybe it is part of the reason because people are afraid, but it's really that they're designing. So I'll give you an example. If the fake news were excited about the tariffs, right? Like excited about the tariffs. Like I can't wait for the tariffs to take place. This is going to do so good for our country. Do you think the market would be going up or do you think it'd be going down? It would be going up. Why? Because the fake news would tell people that it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But since the fake news is telling people that it's a bad thing, that's why people are scared. That's why people are panicking. That's why people are selling, right? Because they don't understand. But they don't remember just 4 years ago when we had Trump prior to Joe Biden, we had tariffs just like what we have now. And did we have any massive crashes? No. So how come today we have the tariff and we have the crash, but before when we put the tariff, we didn't have a crash? How come? Because the tariffs aren't directly, they're not directly responsible. It's all about the how people react to the tariffs. It's not the tariffs that bring the price down. It's the reaction to the tariffs that what causes the fear, which causes the price to come down. But if the reaction was positive and not negative, like the fake news wants you to think, then the prices wouldn't be coming down. They would probably be going up because people would be excited for the tariffs. How come nobody's excited for tariffs? How come nobody's jumping up and down saying, I can't believe we're finally going to have tariffs? This is a good thing. We're taking back our country. We're creating a level playing field. We're not allowing other countries to take advantages of us anymore as far as ripping us off through our trade deficits. We have massive trade deficits. So we're putting tariffs in to balance the scale. So that should be a positive thing. That should be a good thing. That should be a thing where people are excited about and bullish about for the future of business in America. The American stock market, right? That should be positive momentum, not negative. Why is it negative momentum? Because the market makers, the fake news, the banks, the central banks, JP Morgan, all the Wall Street guys, they're making it this way because number one, because of Doge, right? They're taking away all of their pleasantries, right? They're taking away that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that we just can't even comprehend, right? And if you look at gold's still flying. Look at that. That's up 3,000. Gold is at an all-time high, right? But what about silver? How come silver isn't catching up to the party? Someone said to look at Ethereum, and I thought I did that yesterday. Yeah. So Ethereum, I mean, we're right at support here. So I don't see this going down. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. What I see here is we're holding support. I want to see a base get built. I want to see structure get built. Once I see that, then I'm going to be excited for a retrace. Once we get the retrace, then I'm going to be nervous that we could continue down. But what I would love to see is you got a shoulder. Let's get a head, and then let's get a shoulder. I think that's what's happening here, honestly. So maybe we have one more little low, right? You can see 1, 2. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This could be 4 and 5. 1, 2, all of that's 3. This could be 4 and 5, right? Or if it's not, then this low is going to hold, and we're going to do something like this. You know, create that structure. So let's see how it all plays out. HBAR. Okay, so HBAR looks very bearish. HBAR looks like it's going to break down. It looks to me like it's some very weird looking descending. See how volatility slowing down? It looks like it's going to drop. So that's unfortunate. But I guess you have this wave here, and then you have a 3-wave move up, and then it looks like you're going to get a move down, and that could be like a three-way move down. So something like, something like that. Yeah, I just don't like HBAR at all. It looks like it's off on the edge of a cliff, to be quite honest. Ethereum Classic looks better because it's got much more support down here. Look at all that support. There's a lot of support. All right, so let's see, Matic, yeah, Ethereum versus Bitcoin actually set a new low today, guys. So this is like capitulation here. Let's zoom out. Ethereum versus Bitcoin looks like a disaster. But I don't think it's okay. So you have the rise, you have the crash, you have the retrace, and now you're coming down. What comes next? Obviously reaccumulation. We're gonna go sideways and then break out. That's what we want to see ETH versus Bitcoin do. Casper, Axios, Infinity, Uniswap. Yeah, Uniswap looks like it could be almost finished here. I mean, is that a diag? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. Or is that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2? Whatever. I mean, we're right at this support area here. So you can see all of this support right in here, and that's exactly where we are. So I don't see us going much further, guys. I really don't, because this is a big drop without really a pullback. You see how we pulled back this way and then we came down? This is just a straight rock down. So it makes me think, it's some kind of a C wave, right? A, B, C. And C waves are always fast, vicious, violent, quick, right? So I'm just scouting around the rest. Okay, look at IMX. You have 3 waves up and you have 3 waves down. This is exactly the setup you would want to see, and you're right here at that support level. So what do you think? You want to create a base, and then you want to create a retrace, or go in that retrace. I'm just looking around. I'm just trying to see, if there's anything. So same with Filecoin. Look at that. You got 3 waves up, and you got 3 waves down. I mean, now to the untrained eye, that looks like a head and shoulders, and we're gonna break down and we're gonna die. I mean, yeah, it could be a head and shoulders, but I don't think it is. I mean, it looks like it, but if we break this neckline, which it kind of looks like we're doing, then yeah, it could be a big head and shoulders. It could be, we could be seeing a major rug pull in the liquidity throughout all markets, a liquidation, right? Because if there's too much fear, panic, and everything else, we could see that. But right now, the shape to me looks 3 up, 3 down, and this looks proportional with this, right? It looks proportional. So it looks like this could be the low in here, right? Again, you could always have one more wave, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we could come down and hit the low for 5, create that divergence, and then go up. But either way, I think we're getting close, relatively speaking. AMP looks nice. Look at AMP. It came down nicely. Let's see. Let's turn on some sequentials. So you're on a 10-day 9. That's pretty interesting. Right? It's got that theta look, right? It's got that 3-wave pullback. Everything is got the 3 wave going on here. So Pepe is even on a 9. 9 Injective looks good. You got an impulse and you got a three-way pullback. Now, it doesn't mean it's finished, but like this could be 1, 2, 3. We could be flagging out for a 4, and we might need 5. That's always the risk, right? Quorum. Quorum, I like Quorum. I don't know why, but it looks pretty decent here. You got an impulse and you're flagging out nicely. So it looks decent here. You can only beat the crypto market up so much before people call the bluff, right? Because people inherently know that crypto is the future. We got a pro-crypto president. We're getting regulations. There's so much to look forward to. It's unbelievable. I mean, we got ETFs out the wazoo. We got regulations coming. We got a strategic reserve. We got business partnerships. I mean, there's so much. Web3, there's so much to look forward. DeFi, AI, the new economy, the new digital system that we're transitioning into. A lot of these coins are probably going to be useless, but a lot of them have utility, and there's a good handful of them that will probably do extremely well because of what they're designed to do. So, the market, it's only going to go down so much before people say, all right. They're gonna take advantage of these prices here, because it's not like, see. So here's the problem I have. Everyone says, oh, the bull run's over. What are you talking about? We haven't even been in a bull run. The only coin that was in a bull run was Bitcoin. Even XRP is not even a bull run, and XRP performed better than Bitcoin did. So not one coin on the planet is in price discovery. I think Sui was, but that's a one-off. But everything else is not in price discovery. Everything has been, since 2021, we've been going down. We haven't even been in a bull market. So they go, oh, the bull market is over. The bull run is over. What bull run? There's no bull run. We haven't even been in there's no bull run. What bull run? There's no bull run. Tron is the only one that can say that it went into a bull run. Because, and look at Tron. Oh my God. Like to me, Tron is so strong, man. Like, it's just like all of the carnage we saw massive liquidations, massive carnage, but look at Tron. It's just chilling. It's nothing. Look at Chainlink. Where is the bull run with Chainlink? There's no bull run, right? We didn't have, people think we had a bull run. No, we went into a retrace. This is the bull run right here. This is the bear market. This is the bottom. This is the retrace. And what comes next? Either the retrace can flag out and we can break out, number one, or we have to come down into reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we break out. The bull run hasn't even begun. It hasn't even started yet, guys. There is no bull run because it hasn't started yet. Right? So, look at Theta Fuel, where it topped back here in 2021. So, we've been going down ever since. So that's why I call bull BS. I think we're not even near a bull run. I think this is not even the case. I think we still have a lot more to go. So, not just this guy, but everybody is saying that the bull run is over. I don't even see, and then they say, see you in 4 years. So think about what they're doing. They have the tariffs, make you sell. They say the bull run is over, make you sell, right? All of this stuff is designed to make you sell. At the most, why would I sell into dollars when those dollars are going to be transitioned to a new currency? The Federal Reserve debt note is at its last days. We're going to have a brand new currency. I mean, there's just no way around it. There's so many unfunded liabilities associated with the dollar. You just have to destroy it. And so why would you sell your crypto at the worst possible time? The Bitcoin white paper, that's funny. Why would you sell your crypto at the worst possible time as we're getting ready to transition? I don't think so. I think we're at the beginning of the bull run. I think the bull run hasn't even started yet, right? I mean, first of all, people, again, we've been going down for the last 4 years. How long has it been? So March 2021, or no, this was this November? Maybe AVAX was different. November 2021. I could have swore it was 1 minute here. So yeah, so November, yeah, that was November, but this is April of 2021. So April 2021 to April 2020, and what's really interesting as well is that this is a 1 year three-way pullback from March 2024 all the way to March 2025. That's a 1 year three-way pullback. But what's even more interesting is now we're going to be at April 1st. Well, guess what? That's exactly when we topped here. So he's, people think it's associated with the 4 year cycle. Well, guess what? 4 years hasn't even started yet. So, 4 years hasn't even ended yet. So we have here all the way to here. That's going to be 4 years right there. So 4 years is 1,460 days. Look at that. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect. So this right here, from the bottom or from the top all the way to where we are now, that took 4 years. Exactly 4 years. So could it be possible that maybe this is where things start turning around? Right? How long is it going to take for Theta, and not just Theta but everything else, to break out into price discovery? If Theta went and broke out and then we had all of this big selling, then yeah, you could say the bull market is over. But how could the bull run be over when we weren't in a bull run? The only thing that was in a bull run was Bitcoin. But then if Bitcoin is already finished with its bull run and the rest of the altcoin market hasn't even started, then if Bitcoin has to go into another bear market for the next 4 years, then that means that the rest of crypto won't do anything for the next 4 years. I don't know about that. I think everything is lining up the way it should, and there's a big deception going on here. And we just have to be vigilant, right? Because, I just don't think it's just gonna collapse. I mean, it could, but I just don't think so. Again, I think we're really close to the bottom, and let's see how it all plays out. There's one more I wanted to look at, XLM here. So when I look at XLM looks to me, and XRP looks to me like the bull run hasn't even started, right? It looks to me like it's about to explode, right? Again, you have the rise, the crash, the retrace, reaccumulation. You go sideways, you break out, you have a nice impulse, and now you're flagging out, guys. You're not crashing, you're flagging. Some of them are crashing, but some of them are flagging, right? So ultimately, this flag will ultimately lead to a big push higher. And if we get this big wave higher, nobody's going to understand it because we're going to have the tariffs. There's no way we can have a bull run with the tariffs. So you might as well just sell your coins now. That's the narrative they want you to believe. But, usually it's the opposite. Usually it's the opposite. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, not financial advice, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.